A warm welcome to all our viewers to our series Natural Medicine. And today I have a very special expert in the field of love relationships, Dr. Beate Strittmatter. And I'm particularly happy about the topic today because I saw her in a new interview on her channel when I was busy in the kitchen, and it was about a prostitute and for which reasons men visit women for payment in spite of being married, and what they really need and what needs are being met at different levels. And Dr. Strittmatter talked to a prostitute about it, and it's incredibly interesting how many facets this job profile entails. And I'm very happy that we're talking about this topic today. Hello, Beate. Hello. I hope I've summed it up correctly because I understood in the kitchen and saw your YouTube video, and I thought, wow, how interesting is that? And next time you're here, even if it's just on the screen, then that would really be a topic for me that we absolutely have to talk about. Yes, Betty found me, and Betty is a viewer on this channel. Great. Yes, she wrote to me and she said she had seen the videos on your channel on QS24. And with everything that is being said, she says the men come to her, and she told me who she is and what she does. She has a normal job. She does it. You won't believe it. She does it for fun. She actually does this for fun. In the beginning, when she was separated from her first partner, it was her youth partner. Then she just didn't want a relationship. She really just wanted sex. Men, watch out. Women sometimes need sex without a relationship. It really does exist. It's always a cliche. Women want to be loved first and then there is sex. It's not always like that. And at some point she somehow got into it. And of course she can also choose her customers. And she has very interesting experiences. The quintessence right away, she says that all men do it. That's tough, this statement. Yes, she also basically offered me a book manuscript. It's cool. We will surely do this together. We'll do an interview. First an interview with her. I'll put it on YouTube. By the way, the title Sex Worker was deleted immediately. We had to rename that to Love Worker. I was absolutely thrilled that this woman was writing to me and that she was so far-sighted that she could see, okay, all women should know that. They should all know why men are coming to me. What do they actually want from me? And here I come back to our previous video. He keeps doing it again, is the name of our previous video. And it was about a couple who acted completely past each other, or so they thought. They didn't know much about each other. And that's when I said, yes, because I asked you about the man, because for the woman you had the solution. I'll summarize again, because it may be that someone hasn't seen it all. A summary in just 2 minutes. It is a couple who came to me from far away. And I think that's impressive because the man came too. And people like that are looking for solutions, not just for back pain. They are actually looking for solutions. And in a second conversation with her, I found out where she really has her deepest button, the button that is pressed. So you pass your partner, and they do. And this button is unfortunately located on your shoulder. You pass the partner and the button is unprotected. It is there. Bing, bing, the partner passes and presses it once. And then you have the pain from before again. I found out with her, I'll give the example again, that he only went grocery shopping for himself on Saturdays. They lived together. And she bought him a pineapple and said, it's for you. And he leaves it in the fridge, and after a week she says, it was for you. And he says, I thought that was your pineapple. until here. If you haven't seen the last video, it's still harmless, isn't it? What is she upset about? Okay, someone just shops for themselves. Not great. But for him to say, I thought it was yours, can be a misunderstanding, can't it? No, it was not. He purposefully pressed the button. And the button says, I didn't remember what you were telling me. I wasn't even listening if you said that. It's not important to me either. She has told him several times that she doesn't eat pineapple, and then she yells at him, have you ever seen me eat pineapple? You would have. Blah, blah, blah. Him? It's not important to him. Why is she choosing this? And now it comes. Her healing impulse in this respect would have been the opposite of her past, where she was not given a place, where she wasn't important, where nobody listened, and she repeats that in this relationship. Every time he presses a button, she is 5 again and feels like she did back then. Not seen, no place, nobody cares. Her healing impulse would be her partner if they both addressed it, if her partner could give exactly that to her. Sometimes it is so difficult because we specifically choose those who cannot do it. And if they do it right, they can also heal with you. Now you come into play, Karina. And towards the end of the video, you said, well, but if he rejects her like that, and she's also a therapist, she is a therapist, and then always said you and you and you, so hands off in a relationship. If you are a therapist, leave the partner alone. Why does he behave like that? You just brought that in, and that's so great. Who knows? He would go to his mum once a week. Who knows how he was treated by his mother? Always you have to, and you have to, and you have to. And I'll tell you how to do it. And besides, you're not good at it either. And now he has a partner who is exactly like that. Yes, then he'll never please her, and then he subconsciously does the shopping wrong. To get this blow from the woman again. That actually came from his mum back then. Yes, please hit me, because it feels so familiar. Do it, it feels so familiar. That's what I can handle. As children, we develop tools. And the tool he shows is I duck away, I defend myself. You are not there, I ignore you. These are the tools with which he deals, where he now, in this relationship, acts as an adult in a way he couldn't do before. And I tell you, I would take him for a candidate who actually goes to see a prostitute. But probably with the request, please love me and tell me that I'm great. He will probably go directly with this request. I was once with Michael Lucas Moeller, may he rest in peace. He wrote books like Opportunity Makes Lovers, so following on from Opportunity Makes Thieves. And I actually was in his couple seminar because of a relationship issue of my own. We were 6 couples, all of them with an outside relationship. So we too. And one couple, that was the topic that came up. The woman was very smart and eloquent and always knew everything, and he cheated regularly. In a brothel, in a Thai brothel. And then it was worked out, why is he doing this? I then blurted out inappropriately, I said, because she doesn't want anything from him. She just talks, she doesn't hear anything either. I can understand that well. I saw such a funny picture on WhatsApp. I think that's wonderful, how clever humour can spread on WhatsApp without any publishing barriers. There's a hedgehog and it is standing next to a cactus. Apparently he now has a relation with the cactus. And the abandoned partner hedgehog, his bride, the abandoned hedgehog wife, she then says to this hedgehog man who is standing next to the cactus, what does she have that I don't have? And then the man standing by the cactus says, she doesn't talk. Therefore, I have a topic in my book. How do you look after your relationship? Help, my husband is cheating, what can I do? You can't tie him up, but you can try to look at your own topics, look at his topics, the dialogues. What did I say here in the book that belongs on your toilet? There it is. It belongs on your toilet. 2 pages every day, then you will have read it too in exactly 100 days. 110 days, you will have read the book. The dialogue's on page 195. They both started, and that went really well. And then always look, what is missing in the relationship? Is there anything that the partner is really missing? And if you withdraw that long enough, the one who verbalizes it and brings it up is the one who has his foot in the door first to leave the partnership. And Betty, the sex worker, and I, we became friends. Although we haven't seen each other yet, we became friends via email and via WhatsApp. And she actually reports about a man, his wife is gone, 2 hours of shopping. The man ordered the prostitute home. For 2 hours, would we dare to do that? No, we wouldn't dare to do that. Once the wife came back early. Betty reacted coolly. She ran into the bathroom. He threw all the clothes after her. But now she was in the bathroom and the wife was already there. She came home after the shopping and blamed her husband for not seeing her messages. Well, he was next door. He didn't get the messages. Didn't see her messages, and she complained. And Betty is very clever because she has a normal job. Again, she does it for fun. She got dressed, thank God. She wasn't wearing suspenders because she doesn't do that. She says some men want her to come in the front door with suspenders on so that the neighbours can see that you can afford it. And she doesn't do that. That's wise. So she was wearing normal clothes but had a little handbag. She went out of the bathroom very cool and said, well, see you Monday, and pretended to be an employee in his company. The wife shakes her hand and says, would you like to stay for a coffee? And then that was that. So she says that some men really want her to come in suspenders because they want to show off to the neighbour. And now I remember there is a story. There was once, in the Nazi era, there was once in Frankfurt, I think, a noble whore. And she was called Nitribit, and she was able to choose the richest men as companions. And then there's this joke. A banker couple with a lot of money are sitting at breakfast, and the wife opens the paper and she says, oh, Nitribit has been murdered. She was murdered. Is not still solved until today. She says to her husband, did you see her too? And he says, no, I never went to her. Then she says, but we could have afforded it, couldn't we? According to the motto, we have enough money, you could certainly have paid her. Or are we not rich enough? I found that very interesting. That also takes a look at the woman's perspective on this matter. And Betty also says that some women know that their husbands see her. They don't want to know who it is, but the women know. Because many women then no longer want to have sex and feel relieved. And guess what? That's good. That's cool as long as safe sex is practiced. Although there is a danger there, and it's an American professor who taught that to her students 20 years ago already. A professor on sexuality and psychological issues taught them. Be careful who you go to bed with. Each orgasm could cause you to fall in love. Because the binding hormone is released, the oxytocin. And it is actually the case when you take little ducks out of the brood and you put a wooden duck in front of them. It is a famous experiment, and the wooden duck travels in a circle on a rail, and the little ducks run after this wooden duck because they are embossed on it to chase after the one who stands as a large model in front. So this infatuation thing, one or the other viewers may have already experienced it for themselves. You had a one-night stand and the next morning you thought, he's really cool. And that's where the drama probably started because you didn't choose them because of other things. Though never say never, our nose also shows pretty quickly. I'm past the age for one-night stands now, but our nose shows us pretty quickly. Okay, who could we have a problem with? Back when I was young, I had no idea about these issues. I had absolutely no idea, but back again. Yes, why are the men seeing Betty then? That would really interest me now. Some come because they just want to talk. Most come because they would like techniques that they do not dare to speak to their partner about. Do you know why men don't dare to do that? I once had an example like that. He said, "Thank God we got to know each other as an affair. Then we can discuss everything without any problems. That would be difficult as a partner." And then I thought to myself, why? So what's this now? Did you experience that? Yes, or a girlfriend. I had this encounter, yes, exactly. Wow, interesting. Wait a minute, I have to write that down. That's crazy. So Betty will surely see this video too. So thank God we met as an affair. So I could say what I want without restraint. Exactly. Yes, that's wonderful. And now I'll tell you what's behind it. Two big things. One is sexuality is really a difficult thing between partners because no matter how well everything fits and no matter how much interests are shared or enriched by each other, the pure physical desire is usually unequal, and you don't believe how many women complain that the men don't feel like it. I once said to a teacher who said to me, "My husband, he wants sex all the time and I can't keep up at all." Where I said, "You know what, monetize this, offer him." I've already seen 3 women here next door today who say the husband doesn't give them enough. The trouble is, they don't want that either. You don't want your partner to get intimate with anyone else. I'm still working with myself, with my insight. Aren't we coupling too much into a love relationship? This is a topic that has not been completely clarified for me. I still have to think about that, or ask even smarter people than me. We couple sexuality only in the love relationship. However, we don't mind whether our partner eats out. So again, I'm not saying go and cheat. I would find it very irritating if my now second husband, if he cheated. It would hurt me very, very much. But then you already see the topic because you were hurt. Am I not good enough? Is there anything else? My self-esteem is dropping, and besides, we have so little time for each other, but suddenly you have time for someone else. For me, personally, that would be the most ailing element. But now we come back again. The various physical needs are actually there. That means you can't really be on the same level. And now I'm telling women who are going through menopause, who then also get drier and the libido drops, because the progesterone drops, that if it worked out well beforehand with their husband, arrange at least hours of intimacy. We are also often so romantic that we say it has to happen spontaneously. No, it doesn't. You both have a daily routine, there are children, so arrange intimate hours. Nothing has to happen. You, as a woman who may not feel like it, arrange intimate hours. Petting, massaging, you can invite your husband to sexuality. There are other forms than just lying down and letting yourself participate. This often works very well. I actually see it as an issue that needs a difference. That's one reason the man is now going to a prostitute or having an affair on the side. An affair is much more stressful and ultimately costs a lot more money. Unless you're really in love, then you get into these conflicts too. The other thing is, why don't we dare to say what we want? Even when there is good sexuality. By the way, there is a book called Good Sex Despite Love. That actually says it all. That means, yes, we love each other, but we don't really dare to have hot sex. Eroticism in a shy deer. If there is a little crack in the underbrush, then the arousal and eroticism are gone. That's the one thing. And the other, can a husband say to his wife or the wife to the husband, as I heard it lately, hey, it turns me on. If I am touched hard, a woman once confided in me, I can't tell my husband that. He'll think, who am I? Or can the husband tell his wife, but I would like you to put on rubber and latex? Maybe my wife says, oh God, and I can't handle it. Satisfying a wish that turns you off turns the whole thing off. So there is just a fear. And this fear, I find it so interesting because how often do you have couples with you? I always hear it when I listen to your interviews, who really don't have the courage, although they have some of the same ideas, not to say it out of this fear. The biggest fear is that the other one will leave, right? I would guess. What is the greatest fear behind the honest communicationship in the partnership? To make a fool of yourself. It's such an intimate thing, to be rejected. To make a fool of yourself, that the other can never again approach you sexually without prejudice. That is the great fear. A man once said, I would love to grant my wife every wish if she told me about them. And even in long-term marriages, and especially there. Not long ago, an 84-year-old man said to me, you know, my wife and I still sleep together, and my wife told me, you got lazy. At the beginning, you have extensive paths petted there and here and so, and then over the years it becomes always shorter, and then it's stopped entirely. Well, we don't need all that, so I've gotten lazy, but there is another huge topic entirely. And this is the saint and the hooker. When you are with someone you love very much, you often confuse them, especially when there were births, with the saint to whom nothing should be done. And in the worst case, you will mistake the woman for your mother. You don't sleep with her anyway. In this case, the mother. As a man, you then see in the woman the saint or the mother. Or if she's given birth, then it also becomes somewhat asexual. A friend of mine used to have a lively sex life before. After she gave birth, the man was there, she bled like a pig. She had to be cut, she had to be sutured. He could never hurt her there again. He couldn't. That ultimately led to the separation. The saint and the hooker. If we manage to let out the hooker again, this step, Karina, we must now take ourselves over this threshold. We can't tell our partner, now tell me, blah, blah, blah. We have to ask ourselves, do I dare? Do I dare to tell about my latest fantasy? I have a colleague with whom I am friends, who is as old as me, and I also know his wife. And I asked him, how is your sex life? And then he says, crazy, really good, but I know he doesn't get along with his wife. And then I say, hand on heart, even if you sleep with her all the time, you know very well that in the middle of the action, everyone can be so lonely, everyone can be in their own fantasy. And you just use the other as a habitual object of use. He didn't say anything more. He said, how do you know? You can be so alone in sex. That is also allowed if the other has a fantasy that really stimulates them, that really arouses them. The man needs it, poor guy. They always need an arousal reaction. As women, we don't need that. We can just fake all sorts of things. But faking always sucks. Yes! It's perfectly fine there, but it connects when you entrust something to the other. I can only recommend confiding something to the other person. So, back to Betty again, otherwise she won't have enough space here at all. Betty says some come in bike dress and put water on your shirt afterwards. Just no smoker, just no hair. She doesn't let them into her bathroom. They use the guest toilet where there is nothing personal, and then they have the bike shirt with them, and they make it wet, and then they put it on and go back home by bike. Sometimes you ask yourself, the world really is very diverse, and she serves a good cause as a love worker. And I would say with us, we are France. There are all the brothels and then the communities. And the Greens, they are always against it. And then all the French come. And we don't want a brothel in town. And now a wonderful old house has just been converted into a brothel. We are against it. And there are women with big signs. No, women shouldn't sell themselves. People, open your eyes. These women relieve society. If that is no longer possible officially, then it is happening illegally. And then women have to disappear in illegality. And there are women who do it because they just do it. Yes, they should be better protected. I have another friend in Hamburg who has become a lawyer and represents hookers. Since university, she always wanted to do it. And I think that's really cool. And of course, there are also low tariffs. She takes care of their rights. If it is absolutely clear that nothing should work illegally, then you have to make it official. Someone has just been criticised, a pastor, because he allows a public toilet to be in front of his church. And some punters and hookers use his public toilet in the evenings because at the moment none of this is possible. The brothels are closed. And he allows that and people get upset. To watch a film about sex you have to be 18, but you can watch violence beforehand. What is this? What is this? Sexuality is normal. Raise your children with open conversation. Yes, the man who has an energy accumulation, he needs a woman now, of course. She shouldn't just grab one, but there are women you can interact with. This can be your own partner, your wife, or if there isn't anyone at the moment, they serve a social purpose. I really want to take up the cudgels for them. Here is her book project, which she's already showed me, where we'll definitely find something to make a book. And I would like to add that I shared my experience with Betty, that I am sure to deepen. Thank you, Betty. First of all, I was in a CQM course. I finally wanted to do a live course again. That was 3 weeks ago. Wow, finally people again, also with a distance, but people. And I share the topic. And there is a man in the course, a school principal, a young school principal, and then I spoke. I said what I discussed with the love worker, and that she said every man wants this. Then this school principal says, I don't sell myself that cheap. He doesn't sell himself. He doesn't sell himself to a prostitute. I found that very interesting, because it was about sexuality you have or don't have. And then this young principal says, he thinks, I wrote down literally what he said, as long as the partner needs an orgasm, as long as I need an orgasm, my partner is responsible for it. I thought, what is this? I was about to tell him off. He says, listen, it's a physical need. How they give me the orgasm. You can still talk about that, but the other person is responsible. I found that to be a very interesting point of view, and that from a man. And Betty heard from an old man, from an older man who was in his late 80s, about potency, attention. As long as I have tongue and fingers, I am potent. I am not impotent. Wow, really good. And a naturopath at this seminar said you should value your body more. There is, I think we have reached the end of airtime. Can that be? And I find that absolutely exciting. So Betty, if you see this film, first of all, thank you for the input. We will hear from you in more detail. And keep writing your manuscript, because we'll be sure to publish that. And she says, women are so clueless. Women are so clueless, so consider it possible and look at what your partner needs. Chapter help. My partner is cheating. There are hints of what you can do. Just take a look. Just have a look. There's a famous movie, I forgot what it's called. It's about a couple in the old American days. And the husband comes home and she babbles. The children don't have a jacket on again and don't go out without a jacket on, and at school, blah, blah, blah. And he tells her very calmly, I'm leaving, because he's found out he's gay. And she didn't notice anything. Because especially when you have children, be careful. Having kids means I keep talking about the kids, ballet, horse riding, that, and I'm losing my relationship. Who are you? Who are you? Where are you? And again, who are you? Take your time for the dialogues. Take your time when you meet in the evening. When you come home, tell the children father and mother have 20 minutes time for themselves. And there they have a cup of tea and everyone tells the other what was your biggest challenge today. What was your best moment? Magically, the children understand how important this is for the parents. And since the cohesion of the parents is important to children, I have always found in dialogues when my children were little, they never disturbed. They only disturbed us once, and it was about a topic that we both didn't want to talk about. There they came, help, the mattress cannot be inflated. I knew then, okay, nobody wants to get into the subject. You have to tell me when the airtime is over. Now, yes, thank you very much, dear Beate. It is always exciting with you, and it is simply fascinating how, on the one hand, the solutions can be complex. On the other hand, they can be very simple. I'm definitely waiting for the top 10 of men's wishes, that we can get that out to the world, that we women can orientate ourselves a bit where the hidden desires are kept. I think that will definitely be a very exciting topic one day. Thank you for being there today. Sure. My dear viewers, I hope you were able to take a lot out of this topic too. And I think it's always nice when you have the courage in a partnership to talk about these things and desires and preferences without this fear that may prevent us a bit from happier, freer life. Thank you for watching. You can find more great interviews with our guests at qs24.tv. I wish you a good time and see you soon. Bye.